it's time to look at some Dynasty sell high opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
These are players, for whatever reason, we feel like it's time to sell before the value might decline. Okay?
Mm.
And we're going to bring you 2 players each. We're going to give reasons as to why. So I'll go first.
Okay.
My first sell high player is Travis Kelce.
Oh, tight end one.
Before you murder me in the comments, just let me explain for 1 second. Unless you are a win now, a true win now team, then you should probably sell Travis Kelce as soon as possible. And let me give you some reasons why. Kelce is currently 32 years old. He'll be 33 when the season begins.
Right.
So what I wanted to do is I wanted to look at elite tight ends in the past. Let's take a look at all the elite tight ends and when did their production really start to fall off?
Okay.
You know, they might have produced decently after a certain time period, but it wasn't the elite production anymore. When was that time period? What age did that happen for these players? Okay.
Right.
So let's take a look at some of the greats. Antonio Gates, around the age of 34 is when his production really fell off. And it was quite obvious that he wasn't the same player anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at Heath Miller. He retired at the age of 33. Let's look at Jason Witten and Greg Olsen. Okay. 2 greats. Around the age of 32, we see a big decline in their production. And we also see some injury issues specifically for Greg Olsen because the tight end is constantly blocking or it's doing the most to get injured. Right. Jimmy Graham and Dallas Clark, they both declined at the age of 31. Shannon Sharp, one of the greatest tight ends ever. His best years came before the age of 30.
Right.
Okay. Before the age of 30. He was still decent from, let's say, 30 to 35, but he wasn't producing those elite numbers anymore.
Okay.
We look at guys like Kellen Winslow. He retired at the age of 30. Vernon Davis fell off after the age of 30, even though he had a decent season, age 33. It wasn't elite anymore. Gronk is currently 32. You could debate if he's still producing elite numbers. Is that because of Tom Brady?
Right.
Hard to say. And
Could
Tony
be.
Gonzalez is probably the only outlier here. My guy played elite football and produced elite numbers until the age of 37. Okay? So you can see the trend I'm following. There's a chance that Travis Kelce could be
that guy.
He could land as long as Tony Gonzalez, right? That is a possibility. He could produce elite numbers. The situation looks great. However, I look historically at the tight end position, and now is kind of the time in the next couple of years where we're going to start to see a decrease in his production. He's still going to be good. He's still connected to a good offense.
Yeah, it's Patrick Mahomes.
But I know. But will he produce elite numbers? I'm just looking at the history of the tight end position. So in conclusion, I just want to avoid that fall off. Do you know what I mean? If it happens next year, if it happens the year after, whenever it does happen, his value will be virtually nothing. Whenever the fall off happens, whenever that happens, let's say he gets injured next year or he doesn't produce the way he did, he didn't get as many targets. Whenever that slight fall up, that slight decrease happens,
that's when
the value's gone.
Yeah,
You're not going to get the value anymore. Yeah. So for me, unless I am truly a win now team, I'm trying to capitalize on that value right now. Let me tell you, fair price to pay. These are some tight ends I would want over Kelce in Dynasty, and I would be willing to give picks, not first, but maybe seconds to get the deal done.
Right.
Number 1's Kyle Pitts. Probably not going to be able to get that done, but you never know. Is the person who owned Kyle Pitts, is he doubting Kyle Pitts? Is he, thinking Kelce can get the job done for him this year? Mark Andrews, George Kittle. Now, if I am going to trade him and I only want picks in return, I'm thinking a mid-2023 first is something I would accept, or an early, let's say top 3, top 4 pick in the 2022 draft.
Right, okay.
So, look, you don't have to move Kelce, but whether it's this year or next year, there will be a point where the production falls off and you're not going to get elite value. So if you look at your league and you say, I can actually win now, then chill. But if you genuinely aren't that team right now, it's probably time to sell. What about you, Badake? Who's your first sell high?
Look, I love the Travis Kelce pick. It's very interesting, and I definitely agree. But my first sell high player is Nick Chubb. And when I look at Nick Chubb, I'm looking at the value and longevity that you can get back with a trade. Zach was just saying, once somebody gets injured and their value is at an all-time high, like Travis Kelce, like a Nick Chubb, and once they get injured, they're gone. You can't get anything in return. And this is what I think about Nick Chubb. Not knocking on his talent. I'm not knocking on anything that he's done so far. But someone like Nick Chubb, who is 26 years old, he's kind of at the beginning at that turn, at that running back stage. You know, when they start to turn, it's like, oh, in Dynasty, it's like, okay, maybe it's time to start flipping these guys. And I think this is a good opportunity for you out there to start flipping a guy like Nick Chubb, okay? Like Zach said, you know, or like with the injuries, if he were to tear his ACL this year, let's say week 5, week 4, whatever the case may be, you won't be able to get anything for Nick Chubb. You're done.
That's true, but I mean, we can't predict.
No,
we can't predict that
exactly.
kind of injury. But you're right. I mean,
we can't predict it. But
as much as we hate to talk about injuries,
you have to try to avoid it.
Running backs
as much
get
as
injured
possible.
more as they get older. So I understand.
So why not try to sell a guy like Nick Chubb and his age right now to get a younger guy, one of these younger guys in the draft right now?
Okay.
For example, Breece Hall's coming in who has amazing production, and Kenneth Walker who can be the Austin Eckler type guy for a team depending on where he lands. You take the opportunity. Or you can get a 2022 first or a 2023 first. See what you can get, you know? Or you can get an actual player. Or you can get someone like a Cam Akers that I believe in. We saw his bounce back. I think he's coming back. He's going to be strong. He's still very young, 23 years old. Maybe Zach will disagree. Or J.K. Dobbins, a guy that already tore his ACL, still very young, 22, 23 years old, still has another 3-4 years in the running back life in fantasy, where Nick Chubb is already towards the end. You know, he probably has another good 2 more decent years in the fantasy production. And that's why I'm, once again, value and longevity. What can I get right now, and how long can the guy that I'm going to get in return last? So, try to trade away Nick Chubb, in my personal opinion.
I'm good with this. You know, he's right on that edge, right? I mean, if you wait to do it next year, he's 27. Then you're going to be sitting there with like an Aaron Jones trying to figure out how to trade Aaron Jones. By the way, I have him in a couple leagues and no one wants him. So once that age hits 27, I'm not saying it's right, but no one really wants to trade for these running backs. I loved the J.K. Dobbins. If you can flip Nick Chubb for J.K. Dobbins, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
Also, Kenneth Walker, to me, he looks like a Nick Chubb when I watch his film. So, all right, I like it. Number 2 for me, player I'm trying to sell high, is Aaron Jones. Someone I literally just talked about, Aaron Jones. I have Aaron Jones on a couple of my dynasty teams.
Right.
And let me tell you what, no one wants Aaron Jones.
Nobody.
So it's only going to get worse from here on out. Obviously, there's reasons behind that with the uncertainties of Aaron Rodgers. But here's why I want to trade Aaron Jones away. Number 1, the unknowns. Will Aaron Rodgers stay? Will he go? Can Jordan Love be that guy? Will Aaron Jones get the opportunities over AJ Dillon? Will that backfield flip? I know he's got the 4-year contract, which is 3 years now, but
he signed that 4-year contract for a year, essentially, to try to win the Super Bowl.
Will they cut him because that's just too much money to pay him? Number 2 is the age. He's 27 years old. Typically around 27 to 28 is when we start to see these running backs fall off or start having major injury issues.
Correct.
We did see some injury issues come up last year for Aaron Jones. And when you think about it, outside of a lineman, there's not a more abused position in the NFL than a running back. So at this point of their life, they are going to start sustaining more injuries. With that contract, it's unlikely that he's going to get traded. So it's unlikely that his situation gets better.
Yeah.
And lastly, if Rodgers stays, genuinely, I want you to ask yourself, can you trust Aaron Jones as your RB2 on a win now team? Can you actually trust him as an RB2, even if Rodgers stays?
Yeah.
Will we continue to see AJ Dillon dig into his time? Will he be consistent enough for you? I mean, as someone who's owned Aaron Jones in a lot of redraft and dynasty leagues, even with the great Aaron Rodgers, there's weeks where Aaron Jones puts up 5 points for you. Is this someone that you can actually trust going into your championship weeks if you make it this year? So for me, I am trying to sell Aaron Jones. I like the talent, but all these things combined lead me to believe that it is time to sell. And maybe someone in your league isn't as off of Aaron Jones as people in my league. So here's what I'm trying to get for him. A mid-2022 first or any 2023 first. However, if you want to talk about actual names, I would be willing to move Aaron Jones, let's say for Josh Jacobs. Everyone's underrating Josh Jacobs. He's still so young.
Yeah, he is.
Cam Akers, David Montgomery, Nick Chubb, someone you talked about, Etienne Mitchell. These are all guys that I would be willing to move Aaron Jones for and maybe include a second-round pick to get in return because I believe in these guys more than I believe in the longevity of an Aaron Jones. So I really think it's time to sell Aaron Jones. It's the situation's not going to get better, and you need to get some sort of value now.
Mm-hmm.
So, Badake, who's your last sell high trade target then?
Oh, this is a big one for me. And then before we started this video, Zach was like, "Are you sure about this one?" I was like,
I don't know. I'm still not sure.
Are you sure about this? And my second guy is Trevor Lawrence. I'm selling high in Dynasty in Trevor Lawrence. I said in our panic meter video, you guys should go watch that. I do not trust the Jacksonville Jaguars organization to bring Trevor Lawrence to his full potential. I don't. Yeah. I can't sell it. I can't say, you know what, let's give him one more chance. One more year is going to be like, well, too late. And I can't have that with the foundation of my team, especially in the Dynasty related or super flex team, my number one quarterback. And I can't have that with Trevor Lawrence. And look, I understand he had Urban Myers. Urban Myers was absolutely terrible. He did everything possible to destroy Trevor Lawrence's first year, and everything around him was crumbling. Etienne broke his foot. Chark got hurt. Marvin Jones was up and down. Laviska Shenault dropped everything. James Robinson gets hurt at the end, and he's not even on the field when he was supposed to be on the field. They started running with Carlos Hyde. It was terrible, and I can't look away of how really bad just Trevor Lawrence was. He obviously it was his first year, his rookie year. There was a lot of bad things that I saw from Trevor Lawrence, but a lot of good things at the same time. Like week 18, Zach said, and against the Colts, he played amazing, a crazy upset, but I don't think that's just one glimpse. And I see the potential, but I can't have that on my team. If I need consistency in the head office, the head coach, the offensive coordinator, that all translate to Trevor Lawrence. The consistency throughout this organization, and this is why I need to trade. I think you should sell Trevor Lawrence high. So this is the fair price for me. Anything 2021 first. And maybe some people think that 2022, 2023, I'm taking a chance on some of these younger guys, a Kenny Pickett, Matt Corral, a Malik Willis with the high upside rushing. He's a running guy. Or you can try to get 2023 right now. Everyone's raving about Bryce Young. I would rather wait, say, you know what, I'm just going to move my team to a futuristic team, sell this guy now, and just hold off. Maybe, I guess you can say tank for this year, because I can't do it with Trevor Lawrence. I just can't. And
I can't get on board this one. Like, I understand it, and there's probably a lot of people in your same scenario, but to me, I feel like if you're selling Trevor Lawrence at this point, you're selling him at an all-time low. I do think he's going to be better. And what's happened to us? What's happened to us as people who enjoy the sport of football? All of a sudden, someone doesn't perform well as a rookie and they're out. Some of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the NFL didn't perform well as rookies. They actually shit the bed as 100%. Rookies. I just think we're all giving up way too early on Trevor Lawrence. I still believe in the talent. The head coach is changing. Everyone who's around him is changing. So for me, I don't think there's a more talented quarterback in this year's class. So if I have Trevor, I have to hold. I understand what you are. And maybe there's other people who are watching it and they're like, yeah, okay, I can see where you're coming from. Let's do it. But for me, if I have him, I'm holding. Like it has to get better in my opinion.
Okay, yeah,
with
it gets
the talent
better.
and the coaching that's coming in.
If I'm not mistaken, I actually can't really think where he finished as the quarterback. I'm pretty sure it's like 23, 24. If it does get better, I see it jumping very minimal. 17, 16. He can probably hit the top 15, but everything has to go right just for him to move up everything
went wrong last year. Literally everything. There's not one thing that you can point at Jacksonville and say this is how they helped Trevor Lawrence, from positional players to coaching.
I get it.
To outside media. Literally nothing. I still believe in the talent, and he would still be the number one quarterback off the board in this year's draft, in my opinion.
Let me ask you this.
I'm going talent over situation.
Let me ask you this. Do you believe in the organization?
No, but if Byron Leftwich is indeed coming in, I believe in Byron Leftwich.
Okay.
So I think he could be the person to take
rumors as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good coaches potentially coming in there. People see what Trevor Lawrence could be. So look, you're going to eat. This is almost turned into a buy or sell, right?
Yeah, actually.
You're going to see it one way or the other, but these are some of our sell highs. Let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree, or if you have any questions.
Yo, what's good? Thanks for watching. We got a lot more videos.
A lot more.
If you want more videos.
Watch it.
You can also subscribe.
Right now.
If you want to.
You need to.
And lastly, don't forget that you can sign up to support the show and get exclusive content by going to patreon.com/fantasylandfam.